Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon, and we're going to talk more about DC Comics' future state and the fact that UCS Comics distributors have been dropped by DC months after DC announced that they were going to be using Lunar and UCS exclusively and not using Diamond anymore. This is kind of a shocker. Maybe it was sort of like Highlander. They wanted to see which one would do better. But yeah, this news got dropped yesterday. And it's really interesting that this happened like a day after DC announced that all of their future state books would be returnable. So I gotta wonder if there wasn't something going on there where UCS is like, we're not set up to return all the books that are probably going to come back because people are probably going to hate this thing. I don't know. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with future state, we've talked a little bit about it. Basically, DC Comics is using bits and pieces of what was supposed to be a complete reboot of the DC universe again, with new characters, all new, all different DC characters, stand-ins for, the traditional superheroes, Clark Kent, Bruce Wayne, Diana. We were going to have an all-new cast, or mostly new cast of new characters, but now it's been relegated to just being a couple-month-long event, and we don't know what happens after that. Nobody seems to really know what's going to happen after Future State, but the reaction on social media has not been terribly good. From what I can see, it's a bunch of number ones, which is always a sales gimmick, or, and right now comic shops need all the help they can get. I don't know if changing out all of the main superheroes, even for a couple months, and relaunching with a bunch of number ones is really a very smart idea, especially now that Warner Media is looking to trim even more fat, and they've already pretty much gutted DC Comics. I don't think it's a good time. But it could be possible that this is all they had. They gutted editorial. Maybe they had months and months and months into this project, and they're like, let's just drop some 5G until we figure out what the hell we're going to do. I don't know. Before we get into it, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We're at almost 150,000 subs. Thank you for the support. We do talk about comics. We talk about animation. We talk about anime. We talk about everything going on in pop culture, all the craziness going on in pop culture right now. A lot of it lately has been because of the pandemic and the shutdowns. It's been changing the pop culture landscape, and I don't think it's ever going to go back to the way it was. I think the entertainment industry has been rebooted. So let's talk about this. DC dropping UCS Comics distributors for 2021. Now, if you recall, when the shutdown happened, basically Diamond folded and said, hey, we're going to go into hibernation for an unforeseen amount of time. DC's like, hell no, we have to get books out. Of course, DC's got to answer to Warner Media, right? So they had to get books out, so they decided to go through Lunar and UCS. So that was a big deal. And they pulled out of Diamond completely, and that was just a couple of months ago, that they pulled out. And now they're announcing that, they're going to do this soft reboot, or whatever the hell it is, the 5G Future State comics. They're going to be returnable. Now, all of a sudden, we're getting news that UCS is dropping out and that they're going to increase minimum orders. So the publisher will be distributing its weekly releases through Lunar in the US as of January 2021, months after DC opened up the distribution of its weekly comics releases to include new companies, UCS and Lunar. It has announced to retailers it will no longer be working with UCS by the end of the year. This is coming from the Hollywood Reporter, Heat Vision, Graham McMillan. In a letter to retailers, DC explained that as of January 1st, its releases to the comic specialty direct market will be distributed through Lunar, Diamond UK, and Penguin Random House, with the latter only distributing graphic novels and collected editions. Final orders placed through UCS have to be placed by November 29th. We want to take this time to sincerely thank UCS for their help during the transition. We will continue to provide all of our support to UCS as retailers shift their accounts over to Lunar or other distributors, the letter reads. Additionally, DC is placing a minimum order amount for weekly delivery at the start of the year, with orders less than 125 in retail value being held until the shipping threshold has been met. That's not going to go over well. In a separate letter to retailers from UCS, the distributor explained UCS will be transferring records of all unfilled FOC orders for items shipping January 2021 and beyond to Lunar to allow for a smooth transition for all accounts. Lunar will contact accounts over the next several weeks to confirm and finalize their information, and added UCS is not closing. We will be offering other exciting items that stores can use. We're not closing, guys, honest. UCS, like Lunar, was newly created just to handle DC's distribution needs in early June, with the two companies originally intended to split weekly comic distribution across the US. While Lunar received praise from retailers for the quality and speed of its service, the same wasn't true of UCS, which was criticized for late or damaged deliveries. So it does sound a little bit like Highlander. DC was going to try out a couple different options and see who was the best. So now, as I understand it, both of these distributors were owned by other comic shops, big mail order comic shops. So I don't know. I think it's becoming very, very clear that the direct market is increasingly less important to DC Comics. Obviously, I mean, we have so many shops that are closing, because of the pandemic. I think they probably, if we're being real here, they would have closed anyway because of the absolute state of the comic book industry right now, the direct market. And, it isn't worth it to them. This is a company that has to go big or go home. They've got Warner Media breathing down their necks. Warner Media has already said they're going to cut more employees. They're going to cut more divisions. And if DC Comics as a publisher can't bring it, then they're probably going to get gone. They really don't need to exist. I mean, Warner could just, license these characters out to other comic book publishers who want to take a chance on publishing superhero books for the direct market, possibly in this economy. I don't know. But they are setting a $500 monthly order minimum. Yeah, so additionally, DC is requiring that orders placed through Lunar Distribution total a minimum of $125 per week based on retail sales value, cover price, or total $500 monthly. I think most comic shops that are serious are probably going to easily pass that. I think they're trying to weed out customers that maybe, frankly, aren't worth the time to ship and to maintain their accounts. Orders that do not meet this amount will be held until further orders are added and the minimum is met, at which time the combined orders will be shipped. So I don't know how this is going to go, guys. I don't know how it's going to go. I think eventually we're going to see DC probably, if the direct market folds, switching to almost exclusively graphic novels and direct-to-consumer. That would be my guess. But it's very interesting that this comes out just a day or two after they announced that the 5G books were returnable. Sounds like it was going to be a huge hassle all the way around. I don't know. So I'm going to wrap this one up. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, and we'll talk to you guys later.